What is up, YouTube? This is Michael from Team Dreadnought, bringing you an Altmile list for V. I've seen a couple people online trying to play it, and I kind of want to get it out there. Altmile's my favorite card, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Of course, start out for Aerial. He's actually still a really good card. His effect is, if you have no face-up damage, you give your grade 2s +10. That works on the opponent's turn as well. And he gets +5, and then if there's an Altmile in Soul, it gains a critical. So the grade 2s will all have 2 crit. On a Force 2, they'll have 3 crit. That's lethal at 3 damage, and just honestly a really solid ability. His second effect helps facilitate the grade 2 abilities from Counter Boss 1, Soul Boss 1, and choosing a grade 2 from your drop and your deck and calling it. This makes it available for a lot of tech options. I currently want to kind of play a Degun in the grade 2s, but I'm not currently playing that, so... But it's just a really solid card, and honestly, if not my favorite card in the entire game. Then just to round out a blue scan at Altmile. I like the 1 of it instead of 2, but you could honestly play 2 to make sure your edit doesn't miss as much. I'm honestly just playing this for the edit and just an Altmile to shove in Soul real quickly to get the critical online. And then for Ashley, I've mentioned before that Jewel Knights are kind of the reason I think Royal Paladin's even remotely playable right now, and so you're going to want to play those. Ashley is Soul Boss 2 to call a Jewel Knight after it attacks, and if it's on Vanguard, it calls 2. It's just really solid. When Salome comes out, it's just going to be really good. Invest in them now, if you can find them for cheap enough. For grade 2s, we're playing 4 Counter Offense Knight Suleiman. His effect is on Vanguard when he's placed. You can look at top 7 to call an Altmile to rearguard. And then his other effect is when he attacks, you can Soul Blast 1 to get +5 and bounce a card in another column. So it's pretty good. You don't have to play this, but I personally like playing it because you're only playing 4 aerials, so it's another way to get the aerial on board. It's just really solid. I still like it a lot, but I can see why you'd cut it for more room and other tech options, as long as also more grade 1 Jewel Knights. I like the grade 1 Jewel Knight, and I really wanted to max it, but I couldn't really find the room. Then 4 of the grade 2 Jewel Knight, Explode Jewel Knight Lely. When she attacks, you can choose 2 normal units from your drop and put them to the bottom of the deck to Soul Charge, and it gets +5. And then when a unit's placed in the same column as this, it gets +10. So you're going to want to, same circle as this unit. You're going to want to play this and get it off Altmile because it allows you to put the 2 to the bottom and refund the soul charge cost of him, which is something that was very important for a while, and you'll miss out on the soul a lot for the effects. It's what you're calling off Ashley primarily as an attack extender, and you'll occasionally get it off the Altmile, and it helps you put Jewel Knights back in the deck since you're really only playing 4 of these as a valid call option, as long as also 1 of these. It's really solid, and honestly, in my opinion, the best Jewel Knight grade 2. Then I'm playing 2 Rabble. It front row, rear guard. Your back row can't be retired. So it's really solid. You have to kill this first, which wastes an effect on it to protect the back row. And then when it's placed, you can Counter Boss 1, shove a not grade 2. So if you want to tuck this grade 1 or just any grade 1 in general, or a trigger back in deck, you can draw 2 cards. And then call a card from your hand. You're going to be calling cards anyway, so it just kind of works out well. 2 Starlight Violinist. His effect is if you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, every grade 2 on your board gets boost and can intercept from the back row. He's kind of the reason Altmile is even remotely a good deck, because Violinist allows you to get the boosting. Last is just a couple 1-ofs. Die Connect. It's when placed, if you have another unit in the same column, you can Soul Charge, and if it's a trigger, he gets +10. Just a good Soul Charge for aerial and other things. 1 Hope Song Angel. It's Counter Boss 1 to get a Starlight Violinist. Sometimes you'll have that 1 CB that you kind of need to work with, and it'll allow you just to Counter Boss it out. And then 1 Absolute Blade Knight Libero. It's when placed from hand, you can Counter Boss 1 to search your deck for a grade 2. If you have no face-up damage, it's a Soul Boss 1 instead. I honestly would probably replace this with Lamarok because it's a card I forgot existed until just now. But you can also Counter Boss in other ways, so it doesn't really have to be anything else. But I recommend trying to maybe put the Lamarok back in somewhere just because it helps out for the Counter Bossing. For grade 1s, 4 Altmile. It's a really solid card. It's just a generic top 5 searcher, and you have no face-up damage against 5. For Flourishing Knight Edith, When it's placed on rear guard, you can Soul Blast 1 and look at top 7 for an Altmile and call it to rear guard. At the end of battle that it boosted at grade 3, you can shove that grade 3 rear guard in the soul to add this back to your hand. That's really solid to put the Altmile in soul. It doesn't even have to be an Altmile. So what you could technically do if you wanted to is play an Ashley in front of it, use the edit to push the Ashley in soul, it bounces back the hand, then trigger the Ashley effect. So it give you a free card, and then you get to call a card, not wasting a rear guard. And then just 1 Jewel Knight grade 1. I want to up this to 2 somehow, but I'm not really sure how I'm going to. But for now, it's still pretty solid. It's counterblast 1 to tuck a normal unit from your drop zone to the bottom of the deck to Soul Charge 1. And choose one of your Jewel Knights, and it gets +5. And then when something's placed on that same circle, you draw a card. I kind of like this, and I guess you could technically replace Lamrock with this because it's still not once per turn. And it gives you back your normal grade 2s. 4 draw trigger PGs, not much to say about them, just draw trigger PGs. You can play a Sound Crypt, but I don't really prefer it. Then it's just 8 critical, which, you know, normal vanilla once you're playing V. Then I play 4 of the Heal Guardians. I do like the Heal Guards a bit in Altmile, as it allows you to have the defensive early game and not take too much damage early, because you do need the early game on not having like 3 open damage on your first aerial. It's best to open it with like 1 or 2. Your goals have all face down damage, so instant ray kind of helps make sure you're not taking too much in the early game. And then just the normal V starter. Oh yeah, Milius, yes, sir. You gotta play Milius, bro, because it's currently my premium deck, and I just only have 1. I gotta buy a second one. But it's just a normal V starter. Play Milius because it's Altmile's boy. He's my boy. But that was Altmile. I recommend giving the deck a shot. The Jewel Knight engine is something you're going to need to pick up anyway, and Aerial, I think, is still fairly cheap. It's personally my favorite card in the entire game, and I do wish it was slightly better, but I think it's more of a really good, fun, kind of rogue deck.
His favorite card as he's doing the profile.
Remember to, I have Altmile hats, so. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back to uploading pretty frequently. It's just we had some problems with 1 week we did some other stuff.
Just save it for later. Save it for later.
Alright, remember to like, comment, subscribe for more videos.